we have some massive numbers for ChatGPT and just how much money their mobile app is making. Apparently, it has earned over $2 billion just from the app to date, and it generates $2.91 per install, which is insane, especially if you think about how many millions of installs there are around the world, how many countries, people probably are just using the free version. It's quite an insane number. So we're going to be breaking down basically its growth rate, everything to do with ChatGPT and the revenue, because these numbers are absolutely eye-watering for a company that has 700 million weekly active users. Before we get into that, Jamie's going to tell us about our school community.
Yeah, if you've ever wanted to learn how to make money on the side using AI or grow your business with AI, you need to be a part of the school community. It is a really great place. We have over 50 or 60 now bonus episodes over there. Each week we release a new one. We get into all the nitty-gritty details of how we're making money online using AI. Aiden covers his music streaming AI hustle, or his music streaming hustle using AI. He's scaling it this year. I'm really excited to hear an update on that. But even this week, I talked about a amazing personal connection I've made through the community that not only has resulted in a friendship, but also helping me out in some real estate transactions. So it has just a really great connection made from this community. There's over 300 members, and it's $19 a month. So if you join today, you can lock that price in, and it'll never be raised on you. But anyways, let's talk about ChatGPT. We always have been, wondering about the numbers and their growth and things like that. And this is kind of like going to reveal a lot of those numbers today. So first stat, ChatGPT so far this year, their mobile app has made 1.35 billion, which is up 673% a year over year from 174 million it made during the same period in 2024. So that to me is absolutely crazy. I know I am using the mobile app almost every single day. I do pay the $20 a month for the, I don't know what tier it is, the not super expensive one, the mid-tier one. So I am a paying user, and I really I use it every single day. So, Jaden, what are your thoughts on these stats?
Yeah, no, I think this is super, super crazy. One thing that I think is important to know is all of the numbers that we're going to break down today, it all comes from app figures. So this is basically a company that breaks down apps and how much revenue they're making based off of a whole bunch of data points and stuff. So I think what's crazy here is that the amount of money that ChatGPT and their app is making right now is about 30x the combined lifetime spend of their rivals, which are Claude from Anthropic, Copilot from Microsoft, and Grok. So those are kind of like the three main competitors, and we have a bunch of charts comparing how much of each of these companies are making, but it's pretty insane to see what OpenAI is doing compared to all of those companies. Another thing that's interesting is the amount of money that they're making is about 53x higher than their next competitor, which is Grok. So Grok apparently made about $25 million this year. The over 1 billion, the $1.35 billion is absolutely insane from ChatGPT. And Grok's average monthly consumer spending is about $3.6 million, or about 1.9% of ChatGPT's.
Wow.
So that's monthly they're making $3 million, which is just it's like fractions. It's like 2% of what ChatGPT is doing. And that's crazy considering it's, one of the biggest contenders. If you look at the benchmarks about which AI model is best, like Grok's number one, and then, Google comes out with one that's slightly better, and Anthropic, and then you have OpenAI, they're all just competing and they're all right there. So technically they're all in the same kind of field, but when it comes to revenue, OpenAI is smoking everybody, which I think is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, and this is, I believe these numbers are not including the API or corporation or tech companies who are using the software on the back end. This is just the mobile app. So, and I think that's really a testament to, they were first, at least in my mind, the first AI company I heard about was ChatGPT, and they also have been kind of ahead of the ball game in a lot of ways in a lot of different, features, things like that. It seems like whenever they come out with a release, it's the best one, and it, maybe there's one that's better for a little bit. Maybe Claude will have an advantage, but then when ChatGPT releases their next version, they kind of top. So they deliver on what they're doing, and yeah, I mean, I also think marketing wise, you don't really see a lot of people talking about Claude, Grok, or Copilot unless they're in the AI space. I mean, wouldn't you agree,
Yeah.
Jaden, or do you see different things on LinkedIn?
Like, honestly, it's weird when I talk to people. I'm like, yeah, like what AI model do you use? I get like a random amount of people that say Grok that I'm just like always
Oh,
surprised by. I'm like, what, really? Like the most random people. An intern that was at my studio, I asked the other day, they were like, oh yeah, I use Grok as my main one. I'm like, really? Like my brother, like, oh yeah, I use Grok. So one of my friends, I was like, how did you find it? And most people are like, oh, like just on Twitter, everyone talks about it. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. So that's like a kind of a shocker to me, if I'm being honest. Copilot, obviously, it's like corporate. Every big company pushes it. It's embedded into everything Microsoft, so that makes sense. And then Claude, I think, is just really good at code, and it was one of the very early ones. So it kind of was with ChatGPT and getting an early lead on everyone else. So that makes a lot of sense. One thing that I will say is we're going to bring some more stats that are crazy. One of them is revenue per download. And so how much money every download of the app is like on average making. That's a crazy number to me. But I will just really quickly caveat this by saying the numbers we're sharing are just for the app downloads. It's not total revenue. It's a really good idea of kind of where these apps are growing, but a lot of people will pay on the web and that's not counted in this data. Like my subscription to ChatGPT, I make on the web. My subscription to Grok, I guess, is probably through the App Store. So like it kind of differs. Some places these numbers could move around a little bit. And I also think it's worth noting that XAI, which has Grok, they didn't launch till November. And at first, they didn't even have, they weren't on an app. They were just on like X, basically, before they built a standalone app. And they didn't make an Android app till much later. I think their Android app didn't come out till like March 4th of this year. Their iOS app didn't come out to January. So like Grok's numbers are way smaller than ChatGPT's, right? Like 25 million. But you also have to know that like Grok launched its app this year. So it goes from 0 to 25 million this year, whereas OpenAI has been out for years. They've nailed down a lot of stuff. They've grown a lot. They've basically had a lot more time to grow the app. So I think that's an interesting caveat. Okay, revenue per download for the top apps. Number one is ChatGPT at $2.91 per download. That's how much they're making, like $3. Claude is making $2.50, really not far behind them. So, like, honestly, I think that's amazing. Claude has way fewer downloads, though. Hawk is making about 75 cents a download, so really not very much money. Copilot is at 28 cents. So Microsoft is just giving it away to trying to get users. One thing that's crazy about ChatGPT is that a huge percentage, a majority of their downloads are not from America. They're from India. And India is obviously a way lower income globally. So because it's a way lower income, the $2.91 that ChatGPT is making per download is extra impressive because it basically means that everyone else is like offsetting that by a lot. Meanwhile, someone like Claude or Grok, maybe Grok has a lot more, let's say, US based installs, but they're paying less. So it is kind of an interesting number to look at for sure.
Yeah, and this is another interesting stat. It says in 2025 so far, ChatGPT, the app, has been downloaded 318 million times, which is 2.8 times more than it saw during the same period last year. But still, just to think about that number, 318 million downloads just in 2025, I feel like is absolutely crazy. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's a worldwide thing. People are using it all over the world, not just America.
Yeah. And I will also say, like, what's crazy is the all-time downloads on ChatGPT are 690 million. And so just this year alone, like, we're I don't know how many months we are into the year. It's August.
Yeah.
So just so far this year, they've had 318 million. So like they've had half of their all-time downloads so far this year. And this app has been out for like years. It'll be insane to see kind of what it does by the end of the year at this rate, right? It'll probably be close to 700 million downloads just this year. And to think that all time it's had 390. So like the last 2 years was about 300 million, and we're probably gonna do 700 million this year is pretty crazy to think. It feels like with apps this big though, they have to like saturate, like they have to reach a saturation level at some point, right? Like there's only, I don't know, 8 billion people on the planet.
Right.
There's only so much growth you can get. And once you start seeing these numbers, like 700 million downloads this year, like how many more times can you do that? Like 8 more times,
Right.
basically. It's kind of crazy to think.
I know, that's absolutely insane. Obviously, Elon Musk is upset about this. He made a complaint about the App Store allegedly showing favoritism to ChatGPT, but I mean, they base it based on downloads and rankings. I mean,
Yeah,
I
they
think he's
are
just a little bit
smoking it.
salty about that.
And the other one thing I'll say is basically the fact that whether, like, let's just say for argument's sake, oh my gosh, Grok is getting just as many downloads as ChatGPT, or maybe it gets really popular one week, so it got more, but it wasn't going to the top of the charts. If I was Apple, I'm not basing the charts off of necessarily which app is getting downloaded the most. The number one thing I'm basing my thing off of is who's making the most money per install, because Apple's taking a 15 or 30% commission from every single payment. If I was Apple, I would 100% be pushing OpenAI. If they're going to make me $3 and Grok's only going to make 75 cents an install, kind of makes sense. Is that like legal, or are they going to get antitrust or sued or whatever? I don't really know, but it makes perfect sense why Apple would do that. OpenAI is just smoking everyone on how much revenue they can generate, which is pretty crazy. Overall, super excited to see the growth with just their app and how much revenue they're able to generate. We'll definitely keep you guys all up to date on that. A very valuable app. I have it on my phone all the time. Pull it up, ask it questions, and get great results. Definitely worthwhile in my opinion. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning into the podcast today. Make sure to go join the school community if you haven't already. We would love to help you grow and scale your business using AI tools. We will give you an unfair advantage using AI. That's our guarantee. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys all in the next episode.